begin with the webinar. I, on the behalf of PG Department of Commerce of Gopichand Arya Mahila College, Abohar, present my heartfelt welcome to you all. We all are gathered here to interact regarding a topic which is in limelight these days, and it is very important for all of us to acknowledge. The topic is impact of COVID-19 on the world economy. Today we are having expertise with us from the different fields who will be sharing their words of wisdom with us soon. Before starting with the event, I would like to virtually call our esteemed Principal Madam, Dr. Rekha Sudhanda ji, who is a motivator, a guiding lamp for all of us, who always gives us different opportunities to explore, who motivate us to conduct these kind of webinars. I invite her to give her blessings and her opinion regarding the same matter. We welcome you, ma'am. Please.
Thank you, Ridhima. Greetings to one and all present here. Our presence here to discuss on the topic impact of COVID-19 on world economy is crucial and much fast one. As you are well versed with the fact that there is a state of bewilderness and insecurity all around. The pandemic has not only affected Indian economy but also the world economy drastically. IMF has recently reported that the global economy is expected to shrink 3% in 2020. It would be the steepest slope since Great Depression of 1929. All sectors of development and growth are in the state of standstill, be it hotel, education, banking, tourism, and whatnot. It is a matter of great pleasure that today we have a galaxy of international scholars to provide insights on the said topic. I feel emboldened while sharing that Gopichand Arya Mahila College under DAV CMC Delhi with NAC accreditation A has a glorious history of women education since 1972 with the vision to prepare them to be the equal partners in the development course and mission to empower them to be the part of equitable society. I extend my heartfelt welcome to all the dignitaries of the dais and the participants in the webinar. My good luck to organizing team, and I pray this webinar should be the thought-provoking event. Thank you to all of you. Thank you, Ridhima.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your blessings. Now I would like to virtually call Dr. Manoj Putela, Head of the Department, PG Department of Commerce. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. I also present my heartfelt welcome to all the expertise and participants. Before taking the expertise opinion, I would like to share with you all some facts about the webinar, which is about the impact of COVID-19 on world economy. As Ms. Ridhima said, this topic is in limelight. It really is. Empty streets are becoming the new norms during COVID-19 pandemic. During the pandemic, stores shut down, public gatherings banned, travel restrictions, physical distancing imposed. Basically, formal lockdown is imposed to slow down the impact of COVID-19. All this have impact on our global economy. In this, airlines, import-export, tourism, events, and many other essential services have been hit. So far, the world economy is going to decline this year. According to the different reports, US has faced $1 trillion shortfall in their global economy. According to the Moody's and other credit rating agencies, India's economy has declined too with the drastic numbers, but still thinking positively. Many businesses have gone completely digital in efforts. As at last, I would say sooner the coronavirus comes to the halt and the faster the economy will begin to recover. Now moving towards our eminent speakers. I welcome you all again, sir. the speakers among us, Mr. Anand Soni, Bahrain Training Institute, Bahrain, Dr. Bija Vishwanath, IBRI College, Oman, Dr. Manjeet Singh, Punjabi University, Patiala, Dr. Sonia Selvin, Andrew University, USA, Dr. Hanwan Prasad, Mohanlal Sukhadia University, Udaipur. Thank you all. Now over to Ritima.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing this much information. So beginning with the event, now we are having eminent speaker amongst us. First of all, I would like to virtually invite the first speaker of the webinar, which is Mr. Anand Soni, a lecturer in Bahrain Training Institute, Ministry of Bahrain. He's a professional with different qualifications, right now pursuing his PhD. He just do not have academic experience. He is also having industrial experience, as he has worked as supervisor in Sharpe Diamond Tools Private Limited, Jaipur. He has presented many research papers in national and international conferences. He has attended multiple seminars, workshops, webinars, and acted as resource person, coordinator in the same way. He's a motivator, a guiding lamp for multiple people. Thank you so much for marking your presence, sir. We welcome you. Over to Mr. Anand. Over to Mr. Anand.
Thank you very much, Ms. Redima. Hello, good evening, one and all. And some places it's a good morning, and some places it's a good afternoon to one and all. So today, are you able to hear me before to continue?
Yes, sir. We are able to hear you.
Yeah. So today we are living in a different world. You can see where the roads are empty, climate is clean. People are inside the house, but if you see, the birds are flying. The sky is very clean. So after completing of my session, I leave one question in your mind, that COVID-19, is it a blessing for us or for the society or for this planet, or it's going to be curse? So that topic I will left on you only for the further thinking. So before to start the topic, I would like to extend my heartfelt regards, gratitude to Principal Ma'am, Dr. Rekha Sood, and the managing team who organized this webinar. So now I will come directly to our today's topic, which is about the impact of COVID-19. I hope that you are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir. We are able to see your screen.
Just give me 1 minute, because are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
One minute here. I think that it's visible to all of you, right?
Yes, sir.
So if you look at this one, today my topic is the impact of COVID-19 on global e-commerce. So about this one, you can first see that what I'm going to cover in the today's sessions. And most of the audience, I think that they are able to see most of the participants. So in my sessions today, I will cover that the impact of developing Asia, the impact of COVID-19 on developing Asia, and the largest e-commerce market, and in the world largest company. And the second objective of my webinar today is how COVID-19 is transforming e-commerce. And further, you can see that how the consumer behavior is changing because of all these changes which are going inside the surroundings. And the next thing, what are the general measures the different organizations they are taking. And the next thing, what will be the future of this e-commerce in the different countries in the global economy. So these are the things which I have a shortlisted to cover in this particular webinar. Actually, there are so many things which I want to complete, but as you know that time is also one big constraint that will not allow me to go through with many other areas which really I want to complete. So if we start with the e-commerce, generally the e-commerce is what? Buying and selling of goods and services, or transmitting of funds or data over electronic networks. That is primarily the internet. And this is generally the most of people, they think that, which is called the e-commerce. Even if you look at the picture, there are the different persons who are paying throughout the different channel, using the different channels, and using the e-commerce services, in the different platform. They are using the tablet, they are using the mobile, and most of the shopping you can see that it is on internet only, using the different devices. When we look at what kind of transactions can be possible using the e-commerce, what kind of businesses are going on the e-commerce. So here you can see that the e-commerce, there is the transaction called business to business, when one business is having transaction with the another business. It may be between the different suppliers from the different corner of the country, from the different places, for the different product. The second type of transaction, it is called the B2C. B2C, it stands for the business to customers. When you visit to the market, you can see that there are different businessmen who are interacting directly with the customers. Our grocery shops are the good examples of B2C. I think that many people, they are aware about this one, customer to customer. Now if you see that with the e-commerce, the customer to customer interaction is also increasing in the market, and for the different kind of facilities and different kind of goods and services. The next one is customer to the business. So basically we can see that these kind of transactions, what we are performing on e-platform, e-commerce, using the business transactions. Now, if I come to the point that what is called the global e-commerce. See, our first definition, it was linked to the one meaning of commerce, e-commerce. But when we come to the global e-commerce, many things will be included in the global e-commerce. So under this one, you can see that when we say that global e-commerce is got by many names, like there is a cross-border commerce, means between the different country, between the different state, between the different places also. And during 1993 in India, when they introduced the concept of LPG under the guidance of that time our finance minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh. So that e-commerce, global e-commerce, we can say that it was starting in India also at that time. And there is also a term we can use for this. This is called the borderless business. There is no boundary line. There is no international border for this one. And international online retails are also the name some people give to the global e-commerce. And but before what, more important than what it is, we need to know that what it is not. And global e-commerce is not a luxury. it is not one strategy among many. Global or going global is necessary. Means this is not only the things that we are just interacting between the different countries for the buying and selling of goods. It is more than that. If you look at the other side, when we say that global commerce, it includes the localizations. Means whenever you sell the product in a different market, the people in that place, they will feel that it's a local goods. It's not the goods from the other country. And the pricing also, it will be very much important when we are going for the global e-commerce. And the another factor which is called the landed cost, the payment system, the different kind of payment mode, the different logistics, customer services, and above all these things, the international law for the global e-commerce, which is very important in the different countries when they are having the relations or collateral relations between the different countries. Now, after the global e-commerce, once we know that what is the global e-commerce, I would like to come to the some point related with the COVID-19, the some facts and figures. So what WHO is saying about the COVID-19? A phenomenon of unknown cause detected in Wuhan city of China. China was the first reported to the WHO country office on 31st December 2019. But there are many other reports which was saying that, and they have the evidences also, that China, they experienced these things even long back, means maybe 1 or 2 months before. And after that, the outbreak, it was declared as a public health emergency of international concern on 30th Jan 2020. And you can say that when it was declared as a public health emergency, there was a big change we can see in the global e-commerce, which I will explain in the coming slides. And on 11th Feb 2020, WHO gave a new name to this pandemic, which is called as a COVID-19. And if we look at the current status, it is showing that 9,413,289, they are the confirmed cases throughout the globe, which includes 482,730 deaths as per the WHO report, which one is a live status you can see on the WHO site. Now, if you say that the different countries, even they are taking the different kind of precautions and measures. They are educating the people using the different norms, including the place where I'm staying. You can see that here the Ministry of Health, they circulated these kind of advertisement, banners, posters at the different places, even on the different kind of digital platform, on the different kind of website also, which are more concerned with the health and safety. Now, you can now if we see that how it is impacting the Asia growth to fall in 2020 on COVID-19 impact, means how it is impacting. If we look at this one, you can see that this is the Asian Bank of Development Organizations, the report they have published recently. You can see that the growth forecast, it was 5.2% in 2019, and which came down drastically in 2020, especially during this era of COVID-19 by 2.2% only. And if you look at the next, what people are expecting that how the growth it will be in 21, it will again go ahead. It will be having a good scenario. There will be the 6.2% growth rate we can find out in the coming 21. Now, even you can say that what trade organization is saying about this one. Recently, I was going through one UN conference report on trade and development, which shows that the coronavirus can cost the global economy close to $2 trillion. Means the different countries, they will have the different kind of cost. So, and the next thing, how this COVID-19 is transforming the e-commerce. If we look at this one, is how with the help of COVID-19, actually I should use the term help. I should not say that it is impacting, because in the coming slides you will see that how it is helping the e-commerce to grow. There has been, you can see that 129% year-over-year growth in US and Canadian e-commerce in order of April 21, and impressive 146% growth in online retail orders. So this is one. And if you say that the people, what device generally they are using or interacting the people, especially for the purpose of buying and selling, the mobile app generally they are using most. So mobile devices are the most popular device for online shopping by a wide margin. 72% of consumers are using mobile devices to shop in store according to the reports, which one is the April month reports of payment organizations. So this you can see that how the e-commerce is transforming. Now, further, if we look at that the largest e-commerce market in the world, what's their situations? What they are having, means are they really facing the big issues, or are they having something which we can that positive, or which we can say that really it can be helpful for the different organizations. So the e-commerce is a global phenomenon. So here you can see, hello. So here you can see that the countries have taken the information about the 5 different countries, where you can see that the annual sale in billion, that is $672 billion, and e-commerce share in the total retail sale is 15.9%. Whereas if you see that the USA, which is called the second very big economy, as per the data given, and they have the annual online sale that is $340 billion, which represent 7.5%, UK $99 billion, where it is showing 14.5%, Japan $79 billion, which represent 5.4%, and Germany. So like this, you can see that how the e-commerce is having the big share in the total online sale. So we can say that the impact of COVID-19 on sale, how it is impacting, how it is making the mind of people by moving them towards the online sale by using the e-commerce system. Now, if we look at the next one, which is called why there is change in e-commerce. This is really very good question if you think that why suddenly these things happen. Why there is a big change in the e-commerce, what happened to the people. So actually these are the 6 key elements, if you see that, which change the consumer behavior. The first one, they are proactive, health-minded buying. Means the things what they are buying now are not the same thing what they was buying it before. We can say that this is the purchasing of preventive health and wellness product. Now you can see that there are many people who are doing exercise at home. Before, those people who was not going to gym, now they are very much conscious about how to enhance the immunity, because this is one of the fact of the COVID-19, that if your immunity power is weak, it will affect you badly. So the people, they are worried about that, and they are using the proactive health minded buying, which include the purchasing preventive health and wellness product. The second is reactive health management. Means here you can see that while looking at the people, while looking at the government instructions and the news, etc., they are having the reactive health management. Means they are buying the things like mask, face mask, hand gloves, hand sanitizers, and they are very much careful about the habits which can really help them to be healthy and protect them from these particular things. The next one is penetrations. So if we look at this, the people, they are buying the things and storing at their home. It is not like that before. Before, people was generally just a mood to go outside. They was going outside and they are buying many things. So now you can see that most of the people, they are having the store of essential goods at their place. And the next thing is quarantine preparations. So if you visit any of the mall and all these things, you can see that the crowd is very less. It is not as before. The queues are very less. Why? The reason, what is the reason behind that? The reason is most of the people, they are diverting to the online. Even the payment of the bills, even the buying of the goods and online orders they are doing. The next thing is restricted living. This is also one of the very important point which move the people mindset from one stage to the another stage. Before, for any occasion, without reason, with reasons, they was going outside. Now, until unless something is not required, they will not move. In most of the countries, we can see the reports. People, they like to have the restrictive living in these days. That's also make them to use the e-commerce, because when they are going with this any kind of entertainment system, means they are using the Netflix, and for the entertainment different site, even for the gaming payments, and all these things you can say that are diverting to the e-commerce. And the next one is now this is a new normal for us. If you say that the most of the country, they are coming out the phase of the lockdown, they are coming to the market, but they are using the most of the guidelines given by the government. They are following the most of the instructions by the government and the health and safety department of the organizations. So they are following the new normal. New normal is not saying that we can again go to the grocery buying personally. It is showing that they can make the payment online and have online business. So now, if we say that how some trends, what's the trends are saying revenue across the e-commerce. So if you look at this one, the monthly shopping activity, if we compare to the year-to-year % growth, if we compare with the 2019 and 2021. So what is in this one? If you look at in the month of Jan, these are the two lines. One, it is showing that the page view. Another one is showing that the order count. If you say that before March, what was the general people habit? Means they was browsing many things, but they was ordering very less. So you can understand this one, that what it was happened in the month of March. Because it was the month of March, in that one, the WHO declared that COVID-19, it is a pandemic, and most of the person suddenly they changed their way of buying the things. So here it was started, the overcount was higher than the page view. And again, in the month of April, it was at the reach when at the saturation level. And later on, if you can see that what happened in the month of May, when again you can see that the page view, it is little higher compared to the last year, and order count, it is little lessons. The reason behind that, in the last month, there are the many health reports came, there are the many government instructions came that we can save ourselves from all these pandemic issues and diseases by protecting ourselves. No need to buy many things, just to buy the household things whatever are required. So this is what one it's showing. The another one you can see that the shopping activity that also increased in the month of March. The reason, as I told you, the reason was when WHO declared this as a pandemic, and the whole world, it was very much panic. Everyone was just rushing to the grocery shop, going and buying the things. Many of the countries, they declared the lockdown. Many states, they imposed the curfew, and the environment of fear. So that's the reason here the order count was suddenly increased. And if we look at the next one, that is again shows that the grocery, which is the year-over-year change in daily e-commerce spending. So if we look at this one, this is also representing the same thing, that why it was changed on the 12th of the March. Why suddenly, what happened? And now I will, 1 minute.
Anand sir, you have muted yourself. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, because I was adjusting some of the video was showing on my screen. Are you able to see, and are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Actually,
We are able to.
in between, I was just adjusting many of those icons, which was showing the different pictures. So you can see that what will be the impact of COVID-19 in long term on the world economy. How the e-commerce is going to get affected in the long term. So we can say that the future of e-commerce, by looking at this, it is not so bad. Nearly one quarter of the shoppers are looking for contactless payment and delivery options. Now you can see that in your nearby surroundings also, many of the shoppers, they are saying that about the home delivery and the online payments they are preferring, with 36% of the shoppers saying that they wouldn't return to brick and mortar store. Means they are happy with the existing system until the vaccine is available. So according to the recent survey of 3,518 consumers by the Salesforce research organizations. And the second here, you can see that the amount of consumers who are shopping online has been steadily increasing because of throughout the world, because of the pandemic, with 44% of respondents conducting more of their online shopping in the mid of the month. That increased with the earlier week with the 42%. Means we can say that the people, the consumers, they are more media educated in these days, especially media which is helping them to make transaction using the online system. And even after the COVID-19 effect, subsidized 68% of US shopper expect to continue buying essential goods online only, because now most of us, we realize the benefits of making the payment online. Why we need to stand in a queue when we can buy the same thing using the online system? If someone need to spend the time, they are spending the time on the body fitness, not by standing in the queue. So these are some of the reason which people are quoting. And coronavirus is also expected to impact back to school and holiday shoppings. Earlier, back to school and holiday shopping means it was a big task for all the parents, which is also affected. And if we look at the e-commerce, how it is going to change, it is going to change as we discussed. Because of change in the consumer behavior, that is a one major reason. And the second is the COVID-19 impact. So these are the two major things which diverted the e-commerce to the different destinations. So if we look at the impact of world largest e-commerce companies, how they are going to get impacted, the companies which are really dealing with the e-commerce. So we cannot forget the name of the king of e-commerce, that is Amazon. Everyone knows, the China-based organizations. So they reported that the sale is growing 26% year over year, which is around 75.5 billions as compared to the previous year. If we look at what they are doing as a special efforts, this is very popular, that Amazon coronavirus testing efforts. They are going to establish one of the lab which will take the sample from across the world and they will put it into the different lab for the testing. Not only that, even when most of the companies, when they are looking for how to cut down the cost, how to maintain the minimum level of income, one side that Amazon, they are going to spend a very high amount on their employees by giving them the special safety and security measures against this coronavirus, against this COVID-19. I will give you here the example that even the first quarters, it shows that the revenue increased $75.45 billion for this Amazon, and revenue growth, which is representing 26%, even profit and growth. So we cannot say that altogether this has a negative impact. There are the organizations which are really having the good impact of the COVID-19. It is simply that how we can take the situation. Either we take the situation as a big challenge, or we think that this is our opportunities. Either we think this as a problem or we take as a challenge and convert into the opportunity. You can say that Amazon in India, they have restarted penetration services in 128 cities. And the sale of non-penetration essential is now live to the 68 cities, and Amazon Fresh is operation in all 6 cities, all the major 6 cities. So this is a one example of the one company. So if you look at here, they are following the 6-step strategy to boost their business or to make sustain in the market. Because of the time constraints, I will not explain you this one, but I can show that there are different organizations which are taking this as an opportunity to grow their business. The second example of the organization, which one is, many persons they heard about this one, that it's called, the short name is the JD. JD, what JD is doing? JD is dealing with the grocery supplies, online grocery supplies in the different regions. And this is one of the Chinese online retailer. JD reported that its online grocery sales grew 215% year over year. And it is 15,000 tons during the first 10 days period between the late January and the early February. So like this, as you know that most of their dealings are related with the delivery services only. And there are a few more examples I can quote here. Those are the example related with the Alibaba Group, eBay, which is very famous. They are also having the positive growth, and Rakuten, one Japanese e-commerce. So like this, there are many big e-commerce companies are there which are having the business throughout the world in the different regions, and they are claiming that they are having good profit. But say that having good profit, it is not easy task even for these big companies also. The reason behind that, when we say that the different component of e-commerce, which include many things, even that warehousing, even the shipment, even the marketing, so many things it includes. And Amazon itself, they invested a lot of money on all these things during the COVID-19. We cannot go with the data because of the time constraints.
Yes, sir.
The next one is some of the changes you have seen in the behavior of the companies during the COVID-19. So I think that the picture which make the things very clear that changing trend in the global e-commerce, the fastest growing product and the fastest declining products. So you can see that the fastest growing product means in these days, the product which was very uncommon like face mask. I don't think that the people was using the face mask before the month of Jan or Feb in India or in many of the countries. And even the same thing with the hand gloves also. In my life, I saw the face mask only in the hospital where the doctor was coming out of the operation theater and they was having the hand gloves and the mask. But now most of the people, they are having all these things. And there's the fastest declining product also. You can see that the fastest declining 10 products and the fastest growing product. Now, the message that generally some company, they should take this one. So here we take the example of DHL, that what DHL they have did to fight against the COVID-19 or to sustain in their business. So like that, the different organizations, they can take the measures. I will just highlight here the few, like clearly communicate any impact of COVID-19 on your homepage. As I told you that there are many organizations which are having no effect on their business, and there are other organizations which are having little impact on their business. So the company, they should communicate the impact on their homepage, leverage their product, consider lowering your free shipping threshold, etc. Like that, they need to find out a checklist which can really help the customers, so the business of those companies also will grow. Now, if we look at this one, can e-commerce overcome the strain of COVID-19? So what the reports are saying that, if we see that the Listrek has reported a 40% jump of e-commerce since the state of emergency. The e-commerce site doubled ad spend in less than 1 month, and the amount you can see that almost $4 billion. So we discussed many things. If you have any question, you can ask, or you can forward that questions to my email. I just summarized the things because of the time constraints. I hope that
Thank you so much, sir.
You will forward it to me. Welcome, dear.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for enhancing our knowledge with your immense knowledge, actually. You rightly explained about the meaning and types of e-commerce. You shared with us that how, with public health emergency on 30th of Jan 2020, impacted the global e-commerce. In fact, you told about the 6 key elements which impacted the consumer behavior rightly explained, the proactive health-minded buying, reactive health management, pantry preparations, quarantine preparations, restricted living, all of this impacted the COVID-19. All of this impacted the consumer behavior. You rightly said, as due to the COVID-19, we rushed to the all the grocery shops. We started doing all online things, online shopping. We rushed to the stores. It is true. It is really true. In fact, we all did it. And you even explained about the data that people browsed more things earlier and ordered less for the shopping. But in the month of March, they actually ordered more as much as they browsed. So it is reality. It was actually need of the time, I think. And you are leaving us with a question that is it a blessing or a curse? First of all, I would like to give an answer to this question. Then I would request all the participants to do the same. So they can share their views in the chat box. I think it is a blessing or a curse, both. I can choose one. Reason being, it has come up with so many good things. If we see just today's news, recent news in Hyderabad, 80% of companies are shifting their business digitalized. Like they are going digitalized. They are going towards the digitalization. They are going online, which is a very, very good benefit for all of us. Our economy is becoming cashless economy, which is a good thing, which is a good step. I think that would improvise the corruption position in every single country. So it is a blessing that way, but obviously it is a curse. We are not able to do much things which we would have been able to do if this period would not have been happened. So thank you so much, sir, for sharing your words of wisdom. Thank you so much. We are obliged. Okay, so we are having amongst us the next speaker. The second speaker amongst us is Dr. Bija Vishwanath, a professional from Department of Business Studies, IBRI, Sultanate of Oman. Dr. Bija Vishwanath has an experience of 19 years in the teaching profession. He has worked for 10 years in many PG colleges of India and now working in IBRI, Oman. He has published many research papers and attended multiple workshops and seminars. We are thankful to you, sir, for sparing your time and marking your presence here. Over to Dr. Bija Vishwanath.
Very good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible to us.
Yes, give me a few seconds. Let me share my screen.
Yes, sir, sure.
Can you all see this one, please?
Yes, sir, we are able to see the screen as well as you.
Thank you. Namaskar. Very good evening, one and all. It gives me immense pleasure to present before you a topic on identifying and managing troubled employees. As my friend Mr. Anand Soni has briefed you on the impact of COVID on the e-commerce. He has explained you on various dimensions of e-commerce, its effect on consumers and on the business. Of course, he has given a very good rosy picture. Now let me take you to another dimension of a human resource, which is least been identified and been focused by most of the management professionals. That is about identifying and managing troubled employees. So let me begin my presentation in briefing you about who is or what is this troubled employees, who are they, what are the different categories, and like what is the effect of their performance on the organization, and then what measures that management can or has to take, and so on. So let me start, let me begin my presentation with defining who is the troubled employee. A troubled employee is someone who is tormented with the personal or work issues that impact negatively on workplace performance, and normal counseling or disciplinary measures cannot improve the condition. Now, in a nutshell, we can define a troubled employee as someone who is having a personal or work-related issues, and due to which he could not able to live up to the expectations of the management, and thereby management is not happy and satisfied. So when we talk about the personal issues, it can be about prolonged illness, or maybe financial crisis, or maybe family related issues or conflicts, or it can be parental or child care, or many other personal issues. And when it comes to the organizational issues, I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible to us.
Yeah, thank you. So when it comes to work-related issues, it may be with the conflict with the peer, or maybe misunderstanding with the immediate boss, or maybe lack of training, or maybe because of poor working conditions, or incentives, lack of incentives, or maybe promotional opportunities, and so on. So these are the basic issues that actually hamper the employees to focus on their work, and thereby it impact on their performance. And as a result, the management is not happy and satisfied. So we can define such employees as troubled employees. Then how do we trace out? How do we trace out the impact, the signs? How the organization can identify that a particular employee is a troubled employee and his or her performance is not up to the expected standards. Now, there are simple signs which they display. That is, it can be a low productivity, their output decreases, or it does not meet as per the expectations of the management, poor quality in the work, maybe the customers are not happy with this, or maybe it does not meet the quality requirement of the organization. Then they may avoid challenges, they may avoid risk, any new responsibility that has been given to them, they simply try to avoid it. Or they may be having a high accident, the rate of high accidents or complaints, or maybe unnoticed absences from work and other related issues. Now, these are the different signs through which it is possible for management to identify the troubled employee behaviors. Now, we come to the actual part of master manipulators. Now, so far we have discussed the basic concepts or fundamentals of the troubled employees and their basic issues, which is visible and which can be identified by the management with little observations. Now, there are 7 different types of a difficult employee behavior that has been identified, or type of employees we can call it as, they are called as seducers, backstabbers, social networkers, sufferers, icebergs, tardy employees, and offloaders. So let me brief you on each of these different category of troubled employees. Now, seducers, the first category of troubled employees, which are very difficult to identify, is the seducers. Now, they have a typical behavior of praising you, complimenting you, and may even buy you small gifts. They may even continuously send WhatsApp messages, greetings, and ask you about of your well-being, of your families, and so on. And from time to time, they may buy you gifts. Now, they try to manipulate the top, the management, or maybe try to manipulate their immediate supervisor or boss, in order to get, to be in the good books of the supervisor. So they try to buy different type of gifts and so on, and try to impress their supervisors. Now the question arises, what can be done? How we can deal with this kind of employees? The first thing what we can do is to set a clear boundaries by the supervisor or the boss, immediate boss, where he can say that what is acceptable behavior, what is not, what kind of gifts he can accept, what cannot be. Now, this becomes a little complicated when we work in different, with a diverse workforce, where, giving gifts and accepting gifts is a part of a culture, especially in economies and GCC countries working environment, where, giving and sharing gifts, is a common part. And then even in, Western economies, to certain extent, it is accepted. So it's in this kind of an environment, it's pretty difficult to identify whether the employee is actually trying to impress the boss, or just trying to, be friendly and, implementing his own cultural etiquettes. However, whatever it is, that manager can easily identify when the employee is trying to take a personal benefit out of him, maybe in the form of leaves, maybe in the form of the promotions, or giving a good appraisal and so on. So the management or the manager has to set a clear boundaries. So what is acceptable behavior and what is not. The second category of employees is the backstabbers. Now, these people, they try to discredit the co-workers and take the credit of work which they have not done at all. Unfortunately, the situation is you may have to deal with this behavior of your team members, maybe your co-workers, maybe your superiors as well, by the management, that acceptable behavior by the management. So for that, the management may go with the strong policies, may frame a policy that can explain the acceptable and the time limits in which they can hang out with their friends and colleagues, and which is not. And some people even very cleverly, they spend most of the time on phone and social networking, chatting through social media and so on. So even that can be noticed if the moment the management or the manager identifies this, he or she has to clearly define that what is accepted and what is not accepted. The fourth one is sufferers. Now they try to gain the sympathy of the other people. They play a victim card. They act as if they have been the victim of conspiracy of other people, but they never take the blame of their poor performance or any kind of behavior. So the manager or the supervisor has to deal with them and to remain unemotional and stick to the issue at hand. And you have to put everything in writing and exactly point out what is the negative, how negatively it is affecting the company culture and so on. And it is always appreciated if we can take in writing from such employees that they would not continue with such kind of a behavior. Then comes the icebergers. These are the cold and non-communicative. They never communicate. They are not very social. They, you may call them as in they live in isolation most of the time. They don't like moving freely with the people. And these employees rarely keep you or your team up to date on their work. So we never know what they are doing, where they are, and what exactly they are up to. So in dealing with such people, it's better we communicate via notes or emails or to encourage their involvement. So when there is a meeting going on, it's better we ask them an open-ended question so that that forces them to express their views about an issue, and so that we can able to know about their views and their abilities. So this is how it can be deal with this category of people. Then the next category is the tardy employees. They keep their own pace. They, in the sense, they come to the office very late, or maybe they have very good reason for that delay in the work. And of course, they leave in time. They maintain the schedules of going back to their homes. But when it comes to coming to the work, they take a long breaks. They come very late, and it's very difficult to trace them in their office. So these are the different behaviors that is exhibited by the tardy employees. Now, how we can deal with these employees? Explain their behavior shows lack of commitment and hurt the moral of the other co-workers, and see that they're breaking the rules, and while the rest of them are not doing the part to obey them. And it's better, the supervisors speak to such employees and explain clearly that such behavior is really affecting the morale of other co-workers. So it's better, and it is also advisable to take in writing that they would not behave such kind of they will exhibit that kind of a behavior again. And the last category is the offloaders. They always ensure that they have very little amount of work, and they pretend to their supervisor or the manager they are what with the little work they are doing so much of favor to the organization. They are so intellectuals and they are so focused on their work, but in reality when we verify the quantity or the amount of work which they do, it's very less compared to the other normal workers. Now, how to deal with these people? When we giving a brief, they quickly make it someone else responsible by briefing a junior or bringing another employee. It is important for the manager to keep the appraiser focused on the responsibilities of their role. So when we are dealing with this, offloaders, we have to explain that this is the common workload that everyone has to share, and the supervisor has to keep a schedule of his workload and the deadline, quick deadline. He has to continuously be in touch through mails whether the work has been done or not. So in this way, you can handle this offloader type of troubled employees. Now, so far we have discussed about who is a troubled employee, and then what are the different kind of behaviors that they exhibit, and probably what measures we can take or possible steps that the management can take to control their behaviors. Now the question arises is, why should we, what is the reason that we have to focus on this category of employees? Now, it is evident from many research that the CEOs and managers spend most of the time in resolving the conflict issues, resolving the complaints of supervisors on this category of employees. So when we see that managers and HR managers and even the top level managers spend most of the time, it affects on the organizational performance, and also it creates so much of disturbance in the organizational culture. So this is one of the reason why that we have to focus on handling this type of troubled employees. Then there are, as I said, now as per the research, 70% of US employees are not showing up to work fully committed, deliver the best performance. Now, as per the research, 70% of employees, in spite the organization are spending so much of efforts, time and money in educating, in training, in providing different category types of incentives to the employees. In spite of this, 70% of the employees are underperforming. This is something a very serious concern for the organizations. Now, around that amount, and also the 52% of those workers are basically sleepwalking throughout their day, and 18% of them are busy acting out their unhappiness. So they try to exhibit to their management they are very happy. They hide their dissatisfaction and anger with the management or with the colleagues and the work environment and so on. Also, 80% of the managers, spend time on supervising the 20% of employees who present a problem of one kind or the other. So what we see on a daily basis that the managers, rather than focusing on strategic planning and day-to-day operations, they focus more on resolving and in confrontation with this category, this type of troubled employees. Then the cost of employee assistance program. Now this is another, this cost is whooping up by organizations which are implementing employee assistance program to their troubled employees. So when they identify the troubled employees, they divert such employees towards employee assistance program, in which they are given some kind of a counseling or some kind of a motivation or maybe sort of a training. So this cost of providing employee assistance program or training is escalating other than the normal cost. So these are the fundamental reason why the organization need and must to focus on controlling this the behavior of troubled employees. Now, how do we deal? Now, how to deal with this kind of an employee, especially in this kind of an environment when we have the pandemic going on, and how this handling of this troubled employees will help us. Now, the best thing what the management can do is, instead of rushing straight away, identifying after identifying and tracing this troubled employees, you have to isolate this the so-called troubled employees from rest of the group. So you have to sanitize. You have to sanitize the normal workers from these troubled employees, and this can be done by shifting of workplace, giving a new task, and so on. So if this or maybe work from home, different assignments and different schedulings for these people, for this kind of a troubled employees. So the first thing the management has to do is identify these troubled employees and isolate them from rest of the employees. So their performance evaluation, the review, the work schedules, everything should be different compared to this normal workers. But the care has to be taken by the management or the manager that it should not be discriminating these employees with the rest of them. So that care has to be taken. So it has to be handled very carefully. Otherwise, the discrimination issues or legal issues might arise. So to avoid this, the management has to carefully plan in handling with this category of employees. And once once you isolate these troubled employees, then you need to identify the causes, that whether it is related to that the cause of their behavior, the troubled behavior is because of internal or external reasons. So once you identify the causes, the internal or external, it is easy for the supervisor or the manager to take a necessary precautions or a kind of a training or assistance or motivational or any kind of a support that management can plan for based on the issue that these troubled employees are facing with. Then now the other reason, why we have, why we could not able to trace. So many of the companies had a problem in tracing these troubled employees is because of the managers having the poor skills. There may not be many of them accept, but this is the fact that most of the employees leave the organization just because of the poor management skills of the manager. So you need the moment that when you see that so much of conflict, so many issues and complaints that are arising, the management is facing with in a particular department or from the managers, from the employees, then the management first, rather than looking at these troubled employees or the employees, they need to recheck their managers and their skills and abilities, whether they are in a position to handle these troubled employees and identify the causes or the issues of the problems that the employees are facing with. So the management has to first review with their assessing the manager's skills, the managerial skills. Then once you identify the troubled employees, the first thing that the manager can do is recording the observations. So whatever the behavior that has been exhibited, it may be through video, it may be through written, it may be through complaints from other in writing. It has to be recorded, it has to be observed. And then the sequence in which, the intervals in which these behaviors are being repeated, that also has to be observed and recorded by the manager. Then, as we have said earlier, that we have to provide necessary education and training, coaching and counseling and to the employees based on their internal or external causes that as we have discussed earlier. Then we have to see the legal aspects when we are dealing with these employees, when we are discussing with these employees on their issues and recording the observations. Of course, we have to maintain the privacy and see that this data or this information is not revealed to the other employees. And if it has to be discussed, we have to discuss only with that concerned employee, and it should be kept confidential. That measures has to be ensured by the management or the HR department or the immediate supervisor. So we have to see the legal dimensions, the legal aspects of helping the employees in dealing with the troubled behaviors. Now, we have referred earlier about the Employee Assistance Program, which talks about, it benefits the employees in providing different kind of counseling services, referral services, motivational services in dealing with job performance, health related, mental and emotional well-being. So this has been done after identifying the troubled employees, after the proper discussion, and all the formalities have been done, paperwork has been done, and when the employees accept that yes, this is my troubled behavior and I need the assistance of the organization in improving my own performance and changing my behavior, then such employees can be diverted to this kind of a program. And again, as is referred earlier, it should be kept confidential and should not be revealed to other employees. Now, finally, I would like to conclude that the relationship, most of the organization consider the relationship of between the management and employees as more economical grounds, which has to be sidelined. It doesn't mean that the organization should not look at the economical benefit from this, but not only from that dimension, it has to see from human aspect of the organization as well. Then the organization should be loyal and honest towards the employees and stakeholders in order to maintaining ethical standards. So what are all the this initiation steps that we take in diverting in helping this troubled employees, in changing their behavior, in modifying and motivating them, and bringing back their performance. So the organization need to be loyal and honest. So it should be evident in their actions, not only in their planning and in their words, but it should be evident in their actions as well. And finally, the most beneficial action a boss can do when dealing with an employee behavior is giving them feedback on it immediately and holding them accountable. Ensure you keep communication open and flowing. So the best thing that the supervisor or the manager can do is, whenever he identifies certain kind of a behavior which is not acceptable, which is actually affecting the other employees, organizational culture or the performance, it is always appreciated to speak on the moment it is identified, and then be open with the communication and be precise in terms of the consequences, explaining the consequences, and so on. And be unemotional in dealing with this kind of employee behaviors. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you really so much for enriching us with your immense knowledge. You took us toward a very relevant and informative topic of troubled employees. You first explained about the meaning and types of troubled employees, and then you explained why we need to focus on the troubled employees. The reasons are that due to the escalated costs which are there with EAPs, that is employee assistance programs, and 70% of US employees are not committed towards work. You very rightly said it. And you also explained that how we can deal with the troubled employees. I completely agree to you that this is a very sensitive matter. So we need to take the actions in that manner only. We have to consider all the legal things also. As you said, when we find out the causes, internal and external, only then we would be able to understand the troubled employees, and then we would be able to handle the troubled employees. Some learning programs should be conducted and education should be provided for this matter. Only that would be the solution to handle this matter. Thank you so much, sir. It was indeed a very, very enriching lecture. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We enjoyed every bit of it. Thank you so much. So now moving towards the next speaker. This next speaker amongst us is Dr. Manjeet Singh, working as a professor in University School of Applied Management, Punjabi University, Patiala. He has an experience of 25 huge years in the teaching profession. Talking about his research work, he has published 105 research papers and articles, which is a huge number. Trust me, it is a huge number. He has published his papers in various national and international journals. He has been actively involved in the research field from the year 1994 until now. He has attended programs of UNESCO. He has been associated with the Curtin University of Technology, Australia. He has presented papers in more than 100 national and international conferences. He is an amazing speaker, a motivator, a guide, and whatnot. We are obliged that he is with us. He would be enriching all the participants with his immense knowledge. Thank you so much, Dr. Manjeet, for joining us. Over to you, sir. Over to Dr. Manjeet Singh.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Good evening, sir. Yes, sir, you are audible to us.
Well, a very pleasant evening to all of you. At the outset, I'm grateful to the organizers for giving me an opportunity to be part of this learning platform. I congratulate the college, the Gopichand Arya College, for taking this initiative to take maximum benefit of these COVID times and taking advantage of technology. Well, my special thanks to Dr. Manoj Putela, because when he called me, he's a very good friend of mine, and when he called me regarding this particular program, I told him that I'm awfully busy these days, so it won't be possible for me to work on it. And more so, the topic is such that a person like me will find it very, very difficult to comment upon, because globally everyone is passing through this challenging time, and still the situation is quite fluid, and a lot of uncertainty is there. And in these situations, for people like us, it's very difficult to comment. So I thought that initially he said that kindly spare only 10 minutes for us, but when I looked at the schedule, I found that 35 minutes have been assigned to me. So I'll try to justify the choice of Dr. Manoj Putela. Well, to start with, I appreciate the wonderful talk by both the speakers, Dr. Vishwanath and Dr. Soni. And I appreciate their focused approach that they restricted themselves to their field, like retail, e-commerce, and the HR issues related to this. But I thought that because Dr. Putela was talking to me again and again that what about your topic? I said your theme is on impact of COVID on world economy. So whatever little knowledge I have, whatever experiences I have, whatever observations which I have gathered from my little reading and little learning, I would like to share those experiences here. Now, before we talk about this specific topic, that what kind of economic impact this COVID has on the global economy. So we all know that the situation is still very fluid, and we don't know how long it will take, because many of the experts are expecting the peak to come in August in India, and some are saying it will come in November, and somebody is saying next year as well. So the situation is quite uncertain, quite fluid. So keeping that thing in mind, what kind of impact we are likely to have on the world economy and on the Indian economy, still it is too early to comment on that. But some of the indicators, they are already there, and we can expect few things to happen, in a while, maybe in a couple of months, which we are not forcing now. And many of the experts might be comparing that the kind of response which Indian government has given, the kind of economic package, the kind of economic interventions, which the Indian government has given vis-a-vis America, vis-a-vis European countries which are quite developed for that matter. So at the outset, first of all, I would like to start with that where we are and where we have been during last 5-7 years or maybe 10 years.
Uh,
Yeah.
Sorry, sir, to interrupt you. Actually, participants are not able to hear you completely. Could you please keep your mic near your mouth so that I think they would be able to hear you better?
Well, I'm using the iPad only, so what I can do is I can keep it a little closer to me. Maybe. Yeah. Just wait.
Actually, everybody's saying the voice is very low and the lecture is very oceanic with oceanic knowledge. So I do not want them to miss. That's why I'm interrupting you.
Okay, is it okay now? Because that is the maximum I can do.
Yes, sir. It's completely fine.
Is it
Thank
okay
you.
now? Okay, I'll
Yes,
speak
sir.
little
It's
now.
completely fine.
So, I was saying that before we start with that, what kind of impact we are likely to have, we need to understand one thing, that where we are, where we were during last 5 to 7 years, both Indian economy as well as the global economy. Well, we were not in a very good shape, during last, 5 to 7 years because of, not many interruptions, or we can say some kind of hard decisions which have been taken by the government of India to, facilitate the transformation of Indian economy from the informal, setup to a formal setup. And that will give us, the advantage in the long run. These interruptions were, the first one was, that demonetization. And because of that liquidity crunch, the small and medium enterprises, especially the informal sector, the organizations as well, they suffered many problems. There was an interruption and they were not in a position to sustain with that. Then the second major policy decision came in terms of GST. And that step was again a very bold and timely step by the government of India, that, economy should be converted from informal to a formal platform. Now, that also, hit the small and medium enterprises very hard. Because again, because of the informal setup of the small and medium enterprises, they were not ready with the uniform, goods and services tax. Though the intention was good, but economy was still facing the teething problems because of the, GST implementation in India. Because these kinds of implementations are not very easy for a country like India, which is having huge population and, different kind of governance rules and all. So all this also, led to another kind of problem that was related to the global economy. Because global economy was also not passing through a very comfortable phase. And the reason for that was the trade wars and between the US and the China, and then Brexit, because all these, options were aiming towards one thing, that we are moving towards, the deglobalization phase. The deglobalization phase says that economies are, or the political economies are more oriented towards their own, business houses. They are more, concerned about their own people in terms of employment opportunities, in terms of business opportunities. And that's why they were focusing on, those types of policies. So with this kind of situation going on, the Indian small and medium enterprises, they were already passing through a very bad phase. And there were issues with regard to the, severe liquidity crunch which they were facing, and the fundamentals of Indian economy, they were not that good. Though our stock markets were rising, but our, growth rates were all-time low. So with this type of, environment around, with this type of situation around, then we came across another major problem, a kind of health crisis, which ultimately resulted into an economic crisis. Because we have not yet got away from the health crisis, but the economic crisis has become very, very severe now, as we can expecting that the economic impact of this particular pandemic, this COVID-19 pandemic, is going to be very harsh. Now, after this, what we have observed in the developed economies as well as in our economy as well, the phases of these lockdowns. And lockdowns were so severe that all our business activities that came to the zero level. And the unemployment rates were all-time high, and what we call it, the business activity was at all-time low. And at this point of time, when we trace our economic history as well, that in a kind of situation which is leading to recession, which is leading to contraction of the economies, at that point of time, the role of government becomes very, very important. Because then it is the government which can take the positive, steps to revive the business, to revive the sentiment, to revive the economy. And developed countries like US and most of the European countries, because they are economically rich, their fiscal positions are not that weak, which the Indian, government was facing. So our fiscal problems, our fiscal situation was not that comfortable. And then we had to face this challenge of global pandemic. So with that, the resulting fact was, hello, am I audible? Because I'm seeing a lot many people are saying that my voice is not clear.
No, sir, it is audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you are audible. You are audible.
Okay. So as far as our fiscal position was concerned, before this pandemic started, it was in a very bad shape. And the government took, various steps with regard to that. Like we all know as students of commerce and management and economics, that the corporate tax rate was reduced. And it has led to the, sharp decline in the collections from the taxes. So with this kind of scenario around, when we faced this global pandemic, it was expected that government should play a very, very important role here to revive the economy, to help the corporate, to help the small and medium enterprises, to help the poorest of the poor people, so that they can, sustain the challenges arising out of this global pandemic. So with this, when we say that the government came up with certain initiatives, and one of very much talked about initiative was this 20 lakh crore, what we call it, the stimulus package. But at that point of time also, when this package was announced, I was also contacted by various TV channels and the other reporters to comment upon this. But that time also, I was of this opinion that it's very difficult to comment on these types of issues. So because we are not yet clear about the problem, that how long it will take, how severe it will become. So at that point of time also, my opinion was same. So now with this, if we look at the kind of problems which we are facing and the kind of sectors which are going to be adversely affected, and certain silver linings as well, that what are the rays of hope for us that we can still sustain with this global pandemic. So I'll be talking about a few sectors which have been badly hit. Like, as a student of commerce and management, when we look at different sectors, we used to say that the sector with the highest multiplier effect is the tourism sector. It is being said that tourism is a sector which is having 3.5 multiplier effect, which indicates or which means that if $1 is invested in tourism sector, it results into the economic activity of $3.5. So that is the amount of multiplier effect of tourism and travel industry. The reason being that whenever this particular industry develops, it results into lot many other types of activities as well. Now, activities in the form of shopping, in the form of travel, in the form of the food tourism, and in the form of the services and all. So when this particular sector, when we say that tourism and travel is badly affected because people are not moving now, people are just staying home to stay safe, and no travel facilities are available. So the tourism and travel sector, which has got badly affected with this, that has resulted into the highest job losses. And we are not expecting it to revive in the near future, because even if the government has opened up, the hotels and restaurants recently, but people are not confident to go to those hotels and restaurants, and people are not confident to travel as well to other places. So this is one major sector which was giving lot many job opportunities, but this has got badly affected with this global pandemic. And when we look at the global economy as well, the countries like Europe, they have been their major revenue source has been the tourism and travel. And we all know that because of this travel restrictions, because of the poor sentiment, poor confidence of the people, even the global economy, is going to shrink because of the non-business activity in this particular sector. Then when we look at the other sectors of Indian economy, like when we say the manufacturing sector. Now, one of the biggest challenge which we have been facing in the recent past was that when we look at our growth story, India's growth story during last 2.5 decades, our focus has been on services sector, because 57% of our GDP was being contributed by the services sector, whereas the manufacturing sector was contributing only about 14 to 15%, which is quite low as compared to the contribution of manufacturing in countries like China, in countries like Singapore, Malaysia, Taiwan, Vietnam, and all. Now, when we used to examine this, people used to say that India has adopted, not a good model for development, because our focus has been on services, and whereas, the biggest job creator is the manufacturing, and that's why China has manufacturing. India will not be in a position to sustain the demographic dividend in terms of employment opportunities, because India's manufacturing sector has not been doing so well. And that's why this Make in India program was launched by Government of India to emphasize more and more on manufacturing. Now, during these times, though the government tried to increase the manufacturing activity, but still, the results were not promising. And when we used to look around, that world over, the China has become the manufacturing hub for the whole of the world. You think of any product, people are importing from China. And that affected, the India's business activity as well. The reason for that was that most of the Indians, they were becoming traders. They were not focusing on manufacturing. They were not manufacturers, because they were finding the easy route by importing it from China and selling it in India. Now, global supply chains were ensured by China for that, and they had a very comprehensive approach, with regard to the this global supply chains as well, with regard to how they were competitive in the world market. They kept their exchange rate very low, and because the exchange rate was low, their products were competitive in the world market, and world over manufacturing activity, could not be promoted because, those activities were not, as economical or not as sustainable, as competitive as the Chinese products were. Now, this resulted into a very, dysfunctional, a disruptive kind of, global economy where the impact of China in the manufacturing sector was very high. Now, India was still struggling with regard to the improvement in the manufacturing sector. Now, with this global pandemic, when this coronavirus, this COVID came, now the biggest challenge now which we are facing is that can we compete with the China, or from where, this disruption in the global economy in terms of manufacturing, which has come up, or we are going to sustain with this. Though lot many people are saying that India can be the alternative because, world over, people are not very happy the way the China has handled this pandemic, and globally, people are suffering because of, the approach of Chinese towards this particular virus. And people are saying that India can be the alternative. But still, there is a big question mark on that because, we are not as competitive as other small countries are. Countries like Singapore, countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, and, this Hong Kong and other places, they are highly competitive in terms of manufacturing. And a survey was conducted whereby it was asked that if, the companies which are based in China, where they would like to shift. Now, very few companies had opted for India because their preference is still, the other small countries in the Asia. Now, second thing regarding this, right now we are facing a problem of, the tensions with, on the border with China. And lot many emotions, are that we should boycott Chinese products. Those are emotions. But how about the economy? Now, when we compare our emotions with the economy, emotionally, it may be, right that we say that, we should boycott the Chinese products. But is it very easy? The answer is no. We cannot have, emotions to prevail over our economy because global supply chains are still intact with the Chinese products only, and Indian business sector will be badly affected if those, supply chains are, disrupted. So keeping that thing in mind, when we say that how this pandemic is going to affect, how it can be converted into an opportunity. Is it that those companies will come to India straight away? No, there is a big question mark on that. Now, but the challenge which we are facing, which I mentioned earlier as well, during 5 to 7 years, the challenge is that, when we look at countries like Israel, when we look at countries like Singapore or Malaysia or maybe Taiwan, all those countries have become, very rich and very developed because of contribution of one sector. And that one sector is the small and medium enterprises. And those small and medium enterprises have been the backbone of the development of these countries. Now, why they are so good in the global landscape? It is because of their small and medium enterprises. But the problem with India is that the demonetization, the GST, and this global pandemic, all these are affecting this particular sector only. So we cannot expect our country to grow unless and until this particular sector is focused upon. And it is not the sole responsibility of the government. When we say that responsibility lies with the government to develop this, the small and medium enterprises, they also need to understand, they also need to shift from informal setups to formal setups. And when that thing will happen, the automatic transformation will take place. Now, third aspect which I want to talk about, that the silver linings, that which sectors we are expecting, to be the, sectors which will revive the Indian economy, or which is the ray of hope. And that sector is the agriculture sector, because we are expecting that in the coming times, our agriculture sector, which have been struggling in the past, because of this pandemic, that is one sector which is going to be least affected because of this pandemic. Because otherwise, services are badly affected, manufacturing activity is badly affected, but agriculture sector and the rural sector is one sector which is not, badly affected with this pandemic. And those areas, those states which are primarily agrarian states, they will be having a lesser impact of this, pandemic, vis-a-vis those states which are, based on industrial activity only. So states like Gujarat, or maybe Maharashtra, or maybe Karnataka, Andhra, where we have more and more of service sector activity or manufacturing activity, they will be affected with this. But states which are having more and more of agriculture-based economy, they will be having a lesser impact as far as, this pandemic is concerned. Now, another thing is, coming towards the next part, that what we are expecting in the near future. Is it that the worst is over? Is it that because we are having the unlockdowns, because we are getting away with the lockdowns and we are unlocking our economy, and can we say that the business activity will revive in the near future, and we are expecting a V-shaped kind of recovery, whereby we say that we can come to the previous levels in a short while or in couple of months? There is a big no to that, feeling, because in the near future we are expecting more economic problems. The reason for that is that our economic, when we call it our, default rates are expected to increase in next 3 to 4 months. The bankruptcies, the defaults, which will adversely affect the banking sector, our financial system, they will get more stressed, and that is expected in the coming 3 to 4 months. That is one, danger area as far as the impact of this is concerned. Second is that we are expecting a huge inflation in the years to come, in the months to come. The reason for that is, as we are all noticing, that government is increasing the tax on diesel and petrol. And, they have come to a level, which are very high. We have seen that diesel prices have crossed the oil prices, the petrol prices in the Delhi. So diesel rates are all-time high. And we all know that the impact of, the increase in the fuel prices is always very regressive. Regressive in the sense that it will push inflation to a very high level. But the government has got no other option, because if they want to improve their fiscal position, when the business activity is down, the GST is not, they're not recovering any taxes because the business activities are low. So when that kind of situation is going on, then what is the option left with the government? The only option left with them is that take advantage from the, the indirect taxes from oil and fuel prices. And that is what they are doing to improve their fiscals, so that they can have some kind of, policy interventions in the government, health sector, or in giving some kind of stimulus packages to the private sector and the other sectors. So that is the, the approach. That is the only alternative left with the government. So still, we say it all will depend upon that what is the impact. The first is how much is the extent of this contagion. Because if there is a second wave, it's a third wave, as many of the epidemiologists are expecting that, in another year or so, we'll be struggling with this pandemic. So the economic activity cannot revive to the fullest if we are still struggling with this. So the intervention of the government will still be on the health sector and the other sectors of the economy, the poorest of the poor sector. And for that purpose, the government of India is not in that comfortable position to spend lavishly on these sectors. When we compare the policies of other governments, like government of USA or maybe European countries, many of them point with an idea of the concept of helicopter money, which they said, okay, why can't we print dollars? Why can't we print rupees without any kind of foreign exchange backing or gold price backing, which traditionally the kind of system we have. But the government of India cannot do it because we don't have that kind of comfortable reserves with us, those strong fundamentals which the European countries and America is having. So they took advantage of that. But we in India, if we do that, we will land up in another trouble, which will lead to the fiscal indiscipline as well as the financial indiscipline. So that's why my learning and my observation about these areas are still that the how much will be the impact still too early to say, because we are expecting more economic crisis in the near future because of the defaults and other things. So that's all from my side, because I have made very little preparation for this. I couldn't make the PPT as well. So, but I couldn't say no to Professor Manoj Futela because he's such a lovable person. So that's all from my side. If any questions, if I can handle it.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us with your oceanic knowledge. You talked about where we were and where we are right now. We were not at the best position earlier, if we talk particularly about Indian economy from the past 7 years. Reason being, you rightly explained, demonetization, we were facing liquidity crunch and that GST problem. If we compare our economy with the European countries, you said that their position was comparatively better, and it is completely right. You explained about the sectors which have been drastically impacted with the COVID-19 globally. And I completely agree to you, as I have also done my industrial training with a tourism company that was Thomas Cook India. And I completely agree. June and July, particularly if we talk about the months of June and July, they are the months of the peak season. Like the most people take their tour plans in the month of June and July, and their literally graph has declined a lot. Like they have shrinked a lot. And India's manufacturing center is not so strong. You explained it. You also gave us a suggestion, which is very good, that instead of just focusing towards the service sector, we need to focus towards the manufacturing sector as well. And I completely agree to your one point, which I liked it very, very much. You said it very, very nicely, that we are having right now a ray of hope is agriculture sector. We, the country of agriculture, we Indians are considered as the country of agriculturalist, and totally agree to that. So that is very good. It is not possible for us to do the V-shaped recovery, as you said. Reason being, it is not possible. But with a ray of hope, I hope our economy will boom definitely, with not at least that with that rate, but with something good. We will come with something good if we focus towards these kind of things. And we, the youngsters, we will try our level best to focus on these kind of things. Thank you so much, sir. We loved your presence. Thank you, sir. We are obliged. Moving towards the next speaker. The next speaker amongst us is Dr. Sonia Selvin. This speaker, I would like to particularly introduce you all. She is a postdoctoral researcher from Andrew University, Michigan, USA. She has a teaching experience of almost 2 decades. She has worked as an assistant professor in Department of Business Administration, Lady Dock College, Madurai, Kamraj University, Madurai, India. She has also worked as a lecturer in Bahrain Training Institute, Ministry of Education, Bahrain. She has also worked as a program manager and internal quality auditor at the same place. Talking about her research work, she has contributed hugely in the research field. She has got her papers published in near about 12 journals and books. She has presented papers in many conferences. She is an excellent speaker and has decent knowledge about the management practices. She has delivered her knowledge through various lectures at different places. Thank you, ma'am, for marking your presence. We are obliged. Over to Dr. Sonia Selvin. Sonia Selvin.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me for this lecture. I am privileged. Let me share the PowerPoint. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is my topic, overcoming challenges faced by entrepreneurs during COVID-19. Namaste. I hope you all know the meaning of Namaste. Can you share what you think? What is the meaning of Namaste? Chat screen. Can you type the meaning of Namaste? Salutation. Soma says it's salutation. Yes. Lali, welcome. Yes. Yes. So let's all put our hands like this and say Namaste. Yes. Don't be shy. I'm not seeing you, but still. Yes, that's nice. So, Namaste means the light within me honors the light within you. Actually, it invokes the unity of mind to the person to which we interact. So as I'm interacting with you, I hope we all have an unity of mind and spend some time as we dive together into this topic. The areas I will be covering today are challenges faced by entrepreneurs during COVID-19, overcoming challenges faced by entrepreneurs during COVID-19, and how can you help small entrepreneurs, and 10 tips for you. I would be concentrating more on the tips for you so that this lecture would be useful for you. Though I have a very less time, I'm just going to browse into the various topics as fast as possible. Do you know an entrepreneur who lives near your area? If so, what is their business and what challenge do they face? Can you please type quickly? If you know an entrepreneur who lives in your area, what is their business and what are the challenges they face? Can you type quickly? Dr. Lali is cloth dealer, and now the logistics is the problem. Yes, logistics is the problem. Anka says the main challenge is deficiency of customer. Very true. Yes. Yes, problem both and supply. Small vendors, true. Demand. So now we see that the new normal is working at home. Most of the people are working at home. We all listened to the lectures by the last 3 persons who gave a broad view about what's happening around. There's lack of money in the hands of customers. Yeah, very true. Priyanka, fear of insecurity in the minds. Too much technology, true. So let me share with you some of the challenges faced by entrepreneurs. The first problem, uncertainty. Entrepreneurs are not search about what is going to happen. They really are paralyzed. They and how to. They're not able to take a decision because everything is being so weird. This pandemic happened all of a sudden, and the entrepreneurs are not ready for this. They didn't think that such problem would arise. The other problem is the changes in the government regulations. There are so many changes in the government regulations that the entrepreneur should always look into what changes are happening, what time is the lockdown, when can they go out, what are the other that are in the government regulations. So they have to always have an open eye. That is a challenge. Anxiety is another problem that the entrepreneur is facing. Yes. Demand and supply is also one of the problem. Which they have to meet. Even though they are not, they are having financial loss, they still have to take care of their customers. They have to take care of their employees. They have their own family problems. There's a lot of information which is overloaded about COVID, about other things that they have to think about. So amidst all these challenges, what should the entrepreneur do? They have to slow down. Slowing down is better for, at times it is better in this fast moving world. Taking a step back and being slow is also good. So the pandemic in this case is good. And stand still, to stand still is to fall behind. Never, the entrepreneur should not stand still, but slow steps should be taken. They have to prioritize their projects or their decisions, what to do now, what to do later. They have to take small steps. Even though they take baby steps, it will lead to success. Entrepreneurs have to take proactive measures, and they have to be aware about the fake news and try to analyze whether the news is true or not, so that the information that they get would be they will be able to judge the information that they face. The next problem they faced was anxiety, and breathing exercise and other exercises would help the entrepreneurs. Sometimes what entrepreneurs do is they have a lot of things to do that they forget about themselves. They forget that they have to take care of their own health in order to serve the people. Entrepreneurs should cut the cost. As I said before, they have to price what's important now, and costs are unnecessary, especially at this point of time. They cannot spend too much money on advertisement. They cannot spend too much money on logistics. They cannot spend too much money on other things that are not required. As much as possible, they will have to take care of their customers, because you all would have heard this common phrase, customer is king. So as a king, the customers require attention whether there is a pandemic or no pandemic. So the entrepreneurs have to be able to have a close relationship with the customers. For example, a salon or a beautician can contact their customers and keep the customers updated about what's happening. There should be a connection with the customers, particularly
slow down for a second. They have to prioritize their decisions.
I can hear you, Ridhima.
She can
Can you please mute your?
Yes, hello. Yes, ma'am.
Can you please mute your phone, your volume?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I have muted.
Oh, thank you. Yes. So, particularly at this point of time, it is important that the entrepreneurs maintain a good connection with their customers. Otherwise, these customers would go away to other entrepreneurs or other business people who offer these services. Maintaining a good contact and explaining the situation with the customer is one way. The next one is treating the employees well. I know at this time there are a lot of layouts. Many people are out of jobs because the entrepreneurs or the business people are unable to pay the employees. But as much as possible, the businessman or the owner of the business will have to treat their employees well by trying their best to keep these employees. These employees are the ones who will get more customers. So if these entrepreneurs can treat the employees well and as much as possible keep them, they may get some financial help from the government, or they can take some loans at this point. Maybe it may not be, they may feel that it is not a good idea, but as much as possible, keeping the employees with them is a good idea so that they can maintain their relationship with the customers. I see that, is it audible? I see.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
The next point that the entrepreneurs can think about is using innovative ideas. We know that when such pandemic or such problems arises, this is the time where entrepreneurs can come out with creative ideas, creative products. So they can engage in new entrepreneurial activities. An example of creative entrepreneurial activity is Zara and H&M. They are into fashion business. They have now entered into protective gear and gowns and other hospital supplies. The distillery and sugar industries have now shifted their production into producing hand sanitizers. It was surprising to see that airline crews are now retraining their employees to work in the hospitals. Ford which was producing automobile supplies, are now producing life-saving machines and devices for the hospitals. So every entrepreneur can think about an innovative way in which they can expand or change their business to. I see that there are some of the hospitals and hotels which use robots to do their businesses. So let's see some of the products that are in demand, which could be concentrated on. One is beauty care products. I had some statistics about this, but it is not displayed here right now. Products that beautify houses are in demand now because most of the people are spending time at home. Pets, people are also buying pets especially because the children are mostly at home, they cannot go out and play. So parents are thinking about buying pets. In fact, even I was thinking about buying pet for my kids. So the entrepreneurs who concentrate on selling pets would also be successful. Gaming. You would all know that gaming is a problem that is being faced. I know most of you are students who are into gaming too. So gaming is one of the business that can be thought about. New games can be produced by entrepreneurs. Next is health and fitness. People are sitting at home now, and sitting at home, not able to go out. Many people are even lazy to go out to run or walk. So any device that helps to improve health and fitness is something that can be used, that can be produced. Sorry. So going to the topic, what is your role in helping small entrepreneurs? You can purchase goods from small entrepreneurs in your area. Another thing, I know that most of you are MBA students and students. So what you can do is make a list of entrepreneurs in your area, get their contact information and the products that are sold, and share this with the people in your local area or even to other friends in different areas, so that these small entrepreneurs will have some sort of business by your initiative. Share it with all the people around. Help people. How much ever you can, help people. When you help people, God will help you too in different ways. You will get help. So some of you had given me, stated the entrepreneurs in your area and the problems that they face. Now, what solution will you offer the entrepreneurs in your area? Can you please type, what solution will you offer the entrepreneurs in your area? Sarla says, promotion if small scale industry is needed. Okay, promotion. Anyone else who want to share the solution you would offer the entrepreneur who's in your area? Going digitalized, yes, that is a very good solution that you can give them. Yes, yes, Subham, going digitalized is important. Yes, that's true. That is the most important. Yes, marketing and networking is important. Yes. Nishu, educate them, digital marketing. Yes. Provide microfinance. Yes, true. Dr. Navita, yes. Yes, these are also good suggestions that are given. Provide microfinance, offer economic benefits, educate them with digital sales, expand business in e-commerce. True. These are also some of the solutions that you can help the entrepreneurs with. You can go give them suggestion what they can do. And I'm giving you 10 tips for you. Okay, what products or services do you see around you which you can produce and something that you can, or a service that you can provide? As you look around you, you can see many products, right? So what do you think you can be involved in producing? What do you think? It will be nice if all of you can produce something. You may be working as a lecturer, professor, or you may be a student, but you can also think about doing a small business or helping others who are in need to start a small business. Okay, can you give a product or services you see around you which you can produce or provide? Right now you are only cooking. You can produce food, packaged food, and sell. Yes. Start a generic industry. Green packaging of product. Yes, Gaurav. Homemade food delivery. Yes. Herbal sanitizer. Yes, you see sanitizer near you. You see a mask. Yes, you can produce masks and sanitizers. You can learn tailoring or you can employ tailors and produce masks. True. Protective equipments. Cow milk. When milk will get spoiled, you can make curd and sell curd. Paper bags, toy manufacturers, leaf bag. Yes, there are so many products that you can be involved in. So now what you can do is take the time to think. Now most of you are sitting at home. So you can think about some businesses that you can start, which will not only help you, but it will help the others too. If you are not willing to start a business, create an idea, create a proposal so that you can give to others who can start their own businesses. Homemade food, yes, Jyoti. Make videos of different recipe, Nandini, true. Mask and sanitizer, yes. Well, so other businesses you can be involved is to create logos, to create websites. This is for IT people. You can even create soap, natural soap, natural oil. You see that there are so many farmers who say that they are not able to market their products. So what we as Indians can do is that purchase the vegetables from them which they are not able to sell. For example, tomatoes might get spoiled. So you can start a business where you can make pickles or jams out of the vegetables. So such ideas can help the farmers and can also be beneficial to you or to the people who want to start their business. Making clothes at home, gym is good. Kirti says online classes. Yes, very innovative. So I know that you all are having some business ideas. You all want to start a business. So that's a good sign. Especially during this pandemic where there are many unemployed people. They sit at home and wonder what they can do. Such entrepreneurial initiatives would be very beneficial for them. Painting and craft work online, that is also a good thing. You can sell the craft work. So for the students, you can either, the first point you have to do is choose a career, what you want to do. You can be an entrepreneur, you can choose a teaching job or join an organization or have any other choices. So the next thing you can do is to volunteer. Now choose a career you want to go for once you complete your MBA and go and volunteer. You can now, as you will not be able to volunteer in organizations, you can ask them if you can help them by volunteering online. If there are any financial statements they want or marketing logos they want or any kind of help that you can provide, contact them and volunteer. Once you volunteer, you'll be able to know what's happening in that organization and you can start that business after some time. Yes, next is improve your skills. This is the best time ever to improve your skills. Sitting at home, watching Netflix, playing games, watching other unnecessary videos are good, but how far are you going to improve yourself? How far? The post-pandemic period is going to be very, very challenging. So how are you going to improve your skills? Ladies, you can improve yourself by learning tailoring, learn how to start a beauty parlor, and others can also learn carpentry, electronics or digital software. Always having a skill is very, very important. Anytime I may lose a job, my husband may lose a job, anyone can lose a job, but skills, when you have some trade skills with you, these are the things that will help you. Say if you know carpentry, you can do that work at home. I wanted to teach my son, who is now 17 years old, carpentry or some electronics at home. Just instead of wasting time in gaming, I thought such things would help him in the future. He may be like, you may become a professor, a big company CEO, but you still can learn a trade. You can join free yoga. I see that Praksha has told we can learn yoga. Yes, we can learn yoga. Every morning doing yoga is good for our health. Meditation is good for our mind. they give courses from very good universities like Johns Hopkins, MIT, and Harvard. There are courses related to entrepreneurship too, how to start business, how to write a financial plan, or how to make a business proposal. So all these courses are there online. Another thing I would like by now all of you would know typing skills, but using that right key, increasing your speed in typing is one skill that is required for all profession. So typing skills can be improved. Stock market trading with skills, not gambling. Okay, yes. Making YouTube videos. Yes. There is some. Okay. Next is to join LinkedIn. I know you all may have LinkedIn. For those who do not have a LinkedIn account, please join LinkedIn. It would give you exposure to many organizations which you would probably want to join. Suppose you want to join a university as a professor, go and get linked or get connection with people in that field. If you decide to join an organization, get connected with the company CEO, the owner of the company, or the HR of that company. By doing this, you will be able to create a rapport with the person who is going to recruit. So once they know you, there is more chance of recruiting you into that company when compared to the person who they do not know, provided you have skills. So join LinkedIn, invite the right person, and chat purposefully. Do not just say hi, hi, how are you? So that is not a way to get linked to a person or get connected to a person professionally. Give the purpose. For example, I wanted to connect with a social entrepreneur. So I told him I plan to start an NGO which will help promote or train the entrepreneurs in different skills. So I would like you to be part of my NGO. So usually when you write such purposeful messages to the contacts, they reply. 90% of such purposeful chats are replied, or messages. Send messages in a proper way so that they will respond to you. Koti says, I want a business of art gallery. Wow. Even I'm an artist, I like to paint. So that is a good business too. Next is work smart. I had actually created a lot of, added a lot of images, but it is not shown. I changed the laptop. So let's go with this. Work smart. Do not work hard, but work smart. Read about the work that you do. Get experiences from other people. Get their experiences and try to implement their good work into your life. So how are they doing their work? How are they working smart? Try to learn from business people. Try to observe more than when you are interacting with someone. Try to observe more than talking. Try to listen. Try to understand. Try to get their advices. Never give up. This is a very important point. We should never give up, because especially in this period of pandemic, you will want to give up because there's a lot of financial issues. You do not know how to market your product. This is the time when people have to be very strong and never give up, because when you do not give up, that is when you will succeed. If great business people like Ambani's family, they had given up in the beginning when they had faced challenges, they wouldn't be great anymore now. So you should not give up. Keep on, stand, hold on to what you want to. You have to dream big. So when you dream big, you will surely achieve what you want to get. Don't overwork, but you can give your delegate your work to others. You can even outsource the work that you are not able to do perfectly. The last point here I would like to say is make tenacity your friend. You have to say that you will never give up. Everything that happens is for good. Always prayer and meditation is something that is very, very important, which can never be replaced by anything else. You have a goal, if I'm sure that you will be able to achieve. When I was doing my BBA, I used to sell saris in order to pay my fees. So that was the start of my business life, and I continued doing small businesses throughout. And having a high goal for achieving a dream is important, as I said. You have to have a goal like, I want to get this much salary or this much profit in a particular year. I'm going to earn 1 lakh in a month, or I'm going to earn 2 lakhs in a month. You have a goal. Work towards those goals. You will definitely achieve. For example, if I have to tell about my personal life, we are from a middle class family. When I was young, during this school days, I would see people who did PhD. So my goal was to have a lot of certificates and do something, get the highest degree. So I thought PhD was the thing. So I aimed for PhD, and when we aim high, we will definitely get it. And that is the way I'm doing my postdoctoral. That was my dream, you know. So you should have a dream. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Even if you're taking baby steps, I said before, it's going to help you. Whether you want to become an entrepreneur, or you want to be a great businessman, or you want to be an excellent professor, whatever the job you're going to be involved in, have a dream, have high hopes, have a dream, and have a path. Write down all your plans. I used to write down all my plans, what I want to do, what I want to achieve. You know, that makes us to work towards that. So these are some of my tips that I wanted to share with you. Thank you so much for giving me this time. And let's be connected in LinkedIn. When you are connecting, you are part of this, and then I will accept you. We can be connected. I'll also be giving a lot of entrepreneurial skill development programs in the future. I hope I'll be connected with you. Thank you. Have a nice day. Enjoy.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for enhancing our knowledge. It was indeed a very, very informative lecture. First of all, you explained about the challenges which are being faced by the entrepreneurs, like uncertainty, anxiety, irresponsibility of the customers. Then we should prioritize the decisions of ours. We should cut the cost, having close relationship with the customers. These are the things which entrepreneurs should focus on. And the most important thing which you did, that you interacted with students or with all the participants in such a great manner. You can see everybody was typing, yes ma'am, we will never give up, we are going to do smart work, we will move towards the smart work. Adding to one of your thing, that as you rightly explained, what kind of activities we can do so that we can make our quarantine period productive. So we being the Gopichand Arya Mahila College, we are coming with these kind of activities already. We are walking on your path. Just recently, we gave an assignment to the girls of BCom, where we asked them to make an advertisement. In that particular advertisement, they invented their own product and they named them. And, yes, we have given it is a matter of, I think so, 15 days back, we gave them this assignment and it was quite interesting. And we are coming up with new assignment, which even you recommended that we can come up with the girls. Like we are planning to conduct a sort of program for the students where we will ask them to manufacture their own product. Like they can make pickles or they can supply say anything like green teas or any other thing, and they will name their product, and in the local area only, like in the nearby villages, they will sell the same. This is an idea which was just 2 days back, which was shared to me by Dr. Manoj Pudela sir also, and you recommended the same also. So thank you so much, ma'am, for enriching us with your knowledge. It was indeed a very, very informative lecture. So even we are asking our students to attend multiple online courses so that they can enhance their knowledge in a more good manner. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your words of wisdom.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving towards the next speaker we are having amongst us is Dr. Hanuman Prasad. Professor Hanuman Prasad, he is the Director, Chair of Management Studies, Mohanlal Sukhadia University, Udaipur. Talking about his research work, he has written 52 research papers published in various national and international journals. He has attended 80 conferences. He has written one book also. He has been awarded with a silver medal by eBay recently for Best Business Academic of the Year. Thank you so much for marking your presence. Thank you so much. Over to Dr. Hanuman Prasad.
Am I audible, madam? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible to us. We are able to see your
And,
screen too.
I think it is visible. No, it is not.
Yes, we are able to see your screen. Also, you can. So just one thing. Yes, sir. You won't be able to. You won't be able to see yourself whenever you will be sharing the screen. So that is not an issue. You can share the screen. We, the participants, would be able to see it.
No, but the screen is not visible.
Sir, are you facing any technical issue? Then I can.
Yeah, just a second. Just a second. I think I am facing a second.
Okay. No issue, sir.
I think I am having something. Lot of screens are open.
So for zooming the screen, you can press F5.
Yeah. There is some problem, I think. I don't know why it is. Now I think it is visible.
So screen is visible. Yes, sir. So you can press F5 for the zoomer version.
Yeah. There was some slideshow I have done, but yeah, it is coming, I think. So,
Yes, sir.
a very good evening. A very good evening, one and all. At the outset, I would seminar on impact of COVID on world economy. I would like to congratulate particularly the staff of Gopichand Arya Mahila College for organizing such a nice webinar. I would like to thank Dr. Manoj Pudela ji, who is my very good friend, and we have been connected from last 10 or 15 years for inviting me in this particular webinar. The topic which I have chosen today is revitalizing Indian economy post COVID-19. At the outset, let me tell you that being last panelist, being last is this that your there are only 160 participants. This is one challenge which is in front of the last speaker is this that has already been covered actually, or that gets covered by the other speakers. We had a very nice from Dr. Vijay Vishwanath, and particularly the view of Professor Manjeet Singh was excellent, and that was a holistic view, and that was a view which has from the point of view of industry. I mean, he has more put uh, focus on industrial do for will be doing. Uh, in fact, if you see this first one, COVID-19 growth chart, you can see a straight line going up, and you can see 47 lakhs and something like that. And when you analyze these figures, you would see that the recovery rate is almost 50%, and the death ratio is almost 5%. But let us look at the Indian scenario. I am a man of finance, so I thought if I would not show graph, if I would not show pictorial presentation, particularly in form of graph, it would not look nice, because finance people understand more through technical analysis. Finance people understand more through charts, through graph. So I have put graph of COVID also. But I was, hopeless by looking at this, that there is no, the zigzag pattern here. Because if there or looking at both the things, if you see, particularly if you look at the Indian scenario as far as the COVID cases are concerned, we are ahead of, that means recovery ratio or recovered ratio is ahead from the world, rest of the world. That means we are 7% more ahead of the other countries, that is country international average. Similarly, if you see, the death ratio is 3% only, which was 5% in case of international case. Now, why I am quoting this? I am quoting this because I want to show you first at the COVID ratio. If we see, our country is a large country, highly dense country, still we are controlling the situation well. Still we are controlling the situation well. That means if we are able to do in the similar manner in case of economy, then possibly will be the worst hit, possibly will be the less hit. If you look into the subprime crisis, which was there, finance crisis, which was there in 2009, Indian economy was least affected. Let me take the view of stock markets also. So I took, maybe for 6 or 7 months chart. That is, this is for international markets, and you can see here that there is V framing. You can see V framing is there. If you can see, this is V framing on the index, that is Nasdaq index. You can see V framing is already there, and when there is V framing, that means there is chance of reversal, because decline to upward and then again the decline chances are there, as our Professor Manjeet Singh was saying, that in future we have some more bad economic days to see. I believe in world also we are going to see the bad economic days in forthcoming days. If we look at the Indian chart, the pattern is a bit different, actually, little bit different. Maybe we are little late or something like that. But the pattern, the same period I have taken here also, but the pattern is little bit different, and the pattern is almost matching with the little different. That is, you can say, is there are heads and shoulders. You can see here, this is shoulder, this is head, and again there is shoulder. And heads and shoulders also give the same indication that in future there will be trend reversal. So here heads and shoulders were in upward trend. There are chances that it would go down in the forthcoming year. But still, I am hopeful that our economy, that our government, that our people would work in the direction wherein fundamentally our stock markets get support. That why I have put those diagrams stock market, because it is usually said that economy barometers are stock markets. Stock markets are the barometers of economy. Therefore, whatever is there, whatever is going on in the country, that would be reflected in the stock market. Maybe temporarily the deviations may be there. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. Please,
Please.
can you keep your mic, your earphones mic near your mouth? We are
Oh.
unable to hear you properly.
Is it? Is it? Is it? Oh my God! Oh my God! So possibly, I have talked about the stock market behavior, wherein I took one example. I think I am clearly, Ridhima, I am audible. You have been a nice host.
Yes, yes, sir. You are audible to us now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for alarming me. So you can see Nasdaq V forming is there. That is what I discussed. If you could not hear, then I discussed about the Sensex pattern. Chinese market, Shanghai Composite Index, where also you will find heads and shoulders are there. So that means in all we will be seeing a downturn in future. That is what is expected from the technicals. But if we get good fundamentals, if we get good support from fundamentals, we would be in a position to recover, or we would be in a position to shorten or brief the that. So if you see the next slide, which is talking about the pre-pandemic slowdown. So if you see pre-COVID, what was the situation? If you observe, this is the net, and if you observe last 4 years, that demonetization, as Manjeet Singh sir was saying, after demonetization it is in declining trend, and this kind of pattern is not visible since 1991 to till date. This is only one time when we have seen this slowdown. That means the government should have taken this as alarming situation. I think the government has taken it as alarming situation, but where government has worked, we have to look at this also. So what I think, that if there are slowdown, if economy is going down, there may be broadly two reasons. There may be a number of reasons, but broadly there may be two reasons. One is demand side problem, another is supply side problem. It's very easy to understand. Demand side due to salary cuts, that may be reduced due to job losses, that may be reduced due to less earning remaining in their hand. Okay, so due to that they are not able to buy in the market, from the market, and as they are not able to buy, they would not be, I mean, the products which are available in the market, that would lie, and therefore that is called demand side problem. And another is supply side problem, wherein industries are not able to supply the product because of credit crunch, because of liquidity crunch, and definitely government has focused on this issue, as Manjeet sir has already said, but government has not focused on boosting the incomes. Rather, that part, that is boosting the incomes part, I mean, taxes were levied little, I mean, or even no relaxation was given on that. So therefore I think that the pre-pandemic slowdown was the main reason of that, was that is decline in growth rate was, I believe, that is my personal opinion, that it was demand side problem. It was demand side problem which should have been taken care of. Then you can look at the statistics which are available related with the unemployment rate, and you see from 6 to 7% we have reached in pandemic period to 23.52%. Again, this unemployment rate which I have quoted here, that is taken from the authorized sources, and you can see that this is going to hit the demand side problem only. And I told you that Manjeet sir has already covered almost the portion which I have talked, but I am talking from the different opinion. I'm talking from the different view actually, not opinion, different view actually. Here, maybe in the government has done much more efforts for the industrial, that is supply side, but there were actually three levels where it affected, and mostly it has been covered. I would be covering very fastly. The reason is that a lot of time has already been there. I think it has been 3 hours since when we have been corrected, and I think the data pack of people that might be going exhausted. So therefore, primary level, if you see, the agriculture was badly impacted, and the earnings of livelihoods was impacted. And however, at last, at the time when the crops were to be sold, that time few efforts were made, but that efforts were not distributed equally to all, or it was not available to all. Then at secondary level, if you see, the two-wheelers, four-wheeler companies, they have put their production at halt. Electronics which were imported from China is now on hold. So it is all I am talking of. It is all I am talking of. What is during the COVID? I am talking of during the COVID. I talked of what was there before COVID. Now I am talking of what is during the COVID. Then territorial level, if you see, now there are a lot of retrenchment, layoff, salary cuts, NPA increase of auto ancillaries, travel, hospitality industry, that all has been talked. So if you see, our all industries have been badly hit. If you see supply side, lot of efforts have been made, and we need to do some more also towards the supply side, particularly allowing flexibility in production, that is such as reducing multiple filing procedure, licensing requirements, etc. Similarly, we need to give relaxation to the micro enterprises, and they must be exempted from GST return filing, or I mean quarterly to half yearly, or such may be relaxed to maybe it may be brought to the yearly also. Similarly, government should boost, encourage such industries which is a mediator to many industries, and which provides strong backward and forward support. Similarly, the automobile sector is a strong support to many automobile manufacturers, component suppliers, dealers, and they give employment to millions of workers. So some relaxations may be given to them also. The same way, small exporters may also be given some relaxations. And similarly, the sector which has been again hit, and that is real estate, and all the connected machineries of real estate must be given some support, that is cement industry, steel industry, electrical appliances. Then you can see that there are few restrictions on the e-commerce industries, those must be removed. So these are few things which need to be implemented, and most of these have already been talked by Manjeet sir, and therefore I'm not covering much. Let us think of the demand side efforts which are required. So basically all these points are oriented towards magnifying, enhancing the earnings of the people. So what we need to do is, number one, we need to work for enhancing the earnings of the farmers. We need maybe MSP we may increase, or we may do some other things. Okay. Similarly, individuals who have lost their salaries, who have lost their jobs, their earnings must be increased. The daily wage earners, you might have seen a lot of migrants going, lot of migrants traveling on the roads. What they will do once they will reach at their home, what will be their livelihood? We have to think about them also. And also our attention is less on the micro entrepreneurs. We need to put some efforts, particularly those who are small shopkeepers. We need to think of them also, because maybe we are giving them less interest oriented credit or something like that. So we need to work on that also, and we have to devise a policy for them. Then similarly, the point connected to this is that purchasing power of people needs to be or direct taxes, whatever is possible, that need to be done. Then even we may think of granting credits at cheaper interest rate. The banks have a clean consumer loan kind of situation, kind of facility, and that may be launched at large actually. Clean consumer loan kind of situation. I have been looking at the social media, a lot of people, because they have lost their job. The issue is this only, that if they have lost their job, from where they will deposit their fees, from there they'll run their daily expenses. So there may, the banks may come out, or the government may frame such a policy wherein oh my god.
Join us, and we are running so much short with the time, so we are going to wind up the event. For that purpose, I would like to virtually call Dr. Manoj Putela from the PG Department of Commerce. He would like to give his vote of thanks to all the speakers.
Yes. Thank you. On behalf of PG Department of Commerce, Gopichand Arya Mahila College, extended a big thanks to all dignitaries for making their presence. It was needed a very knowledgeable, deep sense of gratitude to Mr. Anand Soni, who enlightened us with his commerce. Then I would also like to express my thanks to Dr. Bija Vishwanath. Thanks to Dr. Manjeet Singh. Thank you, sir, for enhancing us with your immense knowledge. We obliged. We are also obliged to Dr. Sonia Salve. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your valuable knowledge about Dr. Hanuman Prasad. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us suggestions that how we can revitalize the Indian economy after COVID-19. Now, I am also very thankful to our prestigious principal ma'am, Dr. Rekha Sudhanda ji, without whom this event would not have been successful. Thank you so much, ma'am, for always motivating us. I am also thankful to the technical team, Singh, Director Shri Guru Gobind Singh Study Center, for helping us and giving us technical help. Lastly, I am thankful to all the participants who from their busy schedule and attend this knowledgeable webinar. Please share your views with us, how you like that, and also feel that feedback form which will be provided to you all the technical terms. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. I, Ridhima Bedi, on the behalf of GCM College, extend my heartfelt thanks to you all for all the participants who listened to us so patiently and who actively participated. Thank you so much. Before bidding adieu, I would like to tell you something, some official information. A link for the feedback form will be provided to you in the WhatsApp group and to your mails. You have to fill that feedback form. After filling the feedback form, you do not need to inform it in the group. We will receive the information. If you will not feed the feedback form, it's a request, then we won't be able to give you an e-certificate. So it's a request to all the participants to please fill up the feedback forms. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The national anthem. It's time for the national anthem. I would request everybody to stand wherever they are.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे